Hey everybody, Guru Jerry Valido back again with Cinco Estilos Urban Arnis here tonight with one of my senior students, Eric. And today what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate a couple different stick defenses against an angle 1 and an angle 2. And then we're going to show the kinetic translation to the short blade. And there are a couple points that I want to make when we do that. So we're going to start with Eric throwing an angle 1, and I'm going to perform a technique called an attacking roof block. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same technique, the attacking roof, except now we're going to use the short blade. And the idea, as we kinetically translate the technique, I want to point out that in Cinco Estilos, students have a choice. You're not going directly for a kill anytime you're using a blade. You don't necessarily have to kill a person when you're using a blade. Now that's going to be an individual choice, and it's going to depend on the situation at hand, but I want my students to understand that they have a choice in how they dispatch an attacker. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways here. So if Eric has a blade and I have a blade, and it's come to a situation now where he's throwing this angle 1, I'm going to utilize the lesser of two evils here. Okay, I do the same type of movement here that I did in my attacking roof with the stick, but this time I check the hand and I cut into the pectoral muscle. Okay, so what happens when I cut the pectoral? What do we do with the pectoral muscle? Anybody that's been to the gym and bench presses, right, it allows you to push your arm away from the body. That is going to negatively affect his arm. His arm may just drop. He comes in, I cut the arm. Now I can cut out, and then if I want to continue to cut into the limb, I can cut the forearm here, and that'll definitely, with these two shots, definitely disarm, forgive the pun, definitely disarm him from attacking me with that weapon again. Now let's go to the worst of two evils, okay? So with the same motion, he attacks with the 1, and I go right into the throat, okay? Obviously, cutting the artery, attacking the neck, I hit the artery, it's done from there, right? Once I hit this artery, I can come out and follow up if I want to, all right? So that's the technique off the angle 1. Now let's look at the technique off the angle 2. Okay, so now off the angle 2, Eric's gonna feed me an angle 2 shot, and I'm going to do what's called an outside sweep with the stick. Fairly straightforward. All right, so now let's move to the short blade and kinetically translate this technique. For whatever reason, I find my weapon here, okay? We're in a closer proximity. He goes to feed me his 2, and I cut right into his arm. Now, in real life, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna leave his arm out there? Probably not. As he retracts it, I follow in with a Sonkiti thrust. Now, again, we can go from good to bad to worse. So if I just want to cut him without causing any kind of life-threatening damage, very slowly, as he feeds, I can just meet him here, and that could be the end of it. I just gashed into his arm. More than likely in real life, he'll pull back, and that might be the end of it, okay? Now, let's say this is a situation where I kind of have to make sure he doesn't do anything to follow up. He feeds me the 2, I cut into his arm, and now I point my weapon right towards him, and I follow in with the thrust right into the chest, okay? I follow his retraction with a Sonkiti thrust. Again, always checking, okay? Last but not least, we can go to worst case scenario, where now I deliver an even more debilitating type of follow-up. where I just keep the attack coming, and I go to targets that I know will probably terminate him completely. So again, in teaching kinetic translations to my students from the stick to the blade, I want to make sure that students have a choice. I want to make sure that students understand that they have different targets that they can address, that they have different areas of the body that they can attack, where they don't necessarily have to finish off an opponent and end their lives. Because now that's something that a student will have to take with him or her for the rest of their life. So keep that in mind as you're training. Hope you got something out of this video, and we'll see you on the next one.